Would you look at that? A ladder! Unfortunately, my design doesn't facilitate this type of...
Hey guys, Society Reviews here, my review of the film Borderlands. When a film sits in developmental hell for over a decade and a half, it's better to cut your losses and save face, rather than continue with a movie that can only be described as a cinematic tsunami. It's been almost 15 years since the Borderlands video game franchise was at the height of its popularity. The first game was released in 2009 and sold about 4.5 million copies by the time Lionsgate decided they were going to move forward with a film project based on the game. Given Hollywood's long history of trying to recreate movies based on video games, many could tell from the jump that this was not going to end well. Between 2015 and 2018, the Borderlands film saw a multitude of writers and directors jump on and off the project, and from the outside looking in, it probably shouldn't have seen the light of day. By the time filmmaker Eli Roth was attached to be a part of the movie, a little event called COVID-19 happened, which further caused delays and irritation for the studio looking to make this movie. Most of this film was shot back in 2021 under COVID guidelines, and the movie was held up an additional 2 years before a series of reshoots were ordered, and here we are in the year 2024 and the film is only just now getting a release. But even with a $120 million production price tag attached to this movie, you can tell Lionsgate didn't have much faith in what they were releasing in theaters, and after watching the film, you can tell exactly why. Borderlands begins with the character of Lilith, a rogue bounty hunter who has been tasked with returning to her home planet of Pandora in order to find a missing girl from a wealthy power player named Atlas. As Lilith returns to the planet, she reluctantly partners up with a talkative robot named Claptrap, who assists her with her journey to find a young girl named Tina. Adding a miscast group of characters to the mix who have about as much chemistry as sodium and water, you get a 2-hour sci-fi action comedy that can go down as one of the biggest wasted times that 2024 has to offer. It doesn't take much to realize that whatever studio executive greenlit this project thought that somehow they were going to make money by profiting off of a popular video game franchise without having any idea of what they were going to do with the film in the first place. Borderlands is a movie that doesn't feel authentic for 1 second of its runtime. The movie comes off as a bunch of Hollywood actors cosplaying at Comic-Con about their favorite video game franchise they know less than little about. The best thing about this film is the bright, colorful scenery that the film brings to life via a crap ton of visual effects brought to you by a blue screen, but the shiny colors is the only thing that keeps the audience awake for 15 minutes later than they would have fallen asleep otherwise. Despite being an accomplished award-winning actress, Cate Blanchett is a horrendously miscast lead character of Lilith. As a matter of fact, no one is cast properly in this film. Kevin Hart is another person who is completely out of place playing the character of Roland. Ariana Greenblatt is laughably terrible as Tiny Tina, and the list goes on. For a movie that relies on the chemistry of its team, this is a team-up devoid of personality and charisma. The acting in this film comes off as the characters took 3 bullet points of the character descriptions that they were given, and then decided to create personalities as the film went on. No aspect of this movie builds on any kind of emotional connection with its audience, meaning that if there was anyone in your theater watching this film, they would take this time to catch up on a power nap rather than be invested in anything they were watching on screen. To call Borderlands a ripoff of Guardians of the Galaxy will be an insult to the Marvel Cinematic Universe even in its current form. As much as a good portion of the blame has to go to Eli Roth, you have to ask yourself how much input did he really have in this disaster of a movie that was 13 years in the making to begin with. With the exception of Sonic the Hedgehog, video games in Hollywood do not result in a positive outcome. Borderlands is yet another example of how these two mediums simply cannot coexist with one another. If you're a fan of this franchise, you're better off dusting off your old PS3 and playing the original game for a few hours rather than wasting your time and money to go see this soulless Hollywood effort masquerading as a summer blockbuster. I give this film a 0 out of 5.
I can't go if you're looking at me! Actually, scrap that. I can. I really can. Actually, it's helping.
Are we really ready for this to finish?
Keep looking at me!